Hey, I'm Sean,
Hi, and I'm Shannon.
and we're the host of Wifey and Baby Mama. Welcome to Thursday Family. I told y'all this
Yes.
has been deemed our favorite day of the week because we get to connect with our peeps and we love it here.
That's right.
So,
That's
hey, y'all.
right.
So, I've announced on Facebook, Instagram, by word of mouth, and on TikTok, which I recently joined, that this episode titled Mama Boys is one you didn't want to miss. Um,
That's right.
TikTok is pretty interesting. So y'all pray for me. I'm determined to move into this century. Since releasing my book and us starting the podcast together, we are learning that social media
Hmm.
is the way of the world. And we decided
Hmm.
we better catch up. So if you haven't
Right.
already, please follow me on TikTok, Yvette LaShawn, as well as liking and sharing our Wifey and Baby Mama on Facebook and Instagram pages. The aunties outside, y'all. And I promise to follow you back. Hit us up at wifeyandbabymama@gmail.com if you have a minute and let us know you've subscribed. And leave your city, state, country, whatever you want, as we like to know where our peeps are tuning in from. Also, for
Hmm.
those of you who may not be on social media and have not heard, we're doing a fall winter giveaway along with our $100 that we give away to all winners every month that are chosen. For the months of October, November, and December, we will also be giving away a copy of my book titled A Love the World Should Know. So you will have
Yay.
a few extra dollars. Yes.
Yay. And
A
a
few
good book
extra
to
dollars
read.
and a good read, right? For the upcoming colder months. We're getting into the holiday spirit early in Wifey and Baby Mama, and we want to bless you all because you are certainly a blessing to us and you keep us motivated. Just please remember for those months, write in the email um, what month you're submitting for. We want like a strange, creepy red line for October. We want the thankful no-nos for November. And maybe,
Yeah. Yeah.
like a no-no you would have dodged, so just something you're thankful that you made it out of or kept yourself away from. And for December, we would like a heartwarming no-no, something that was not
Yeah.
good but ended well. For instance, like my ex-husband and I, we loved each other, but I was never in love. So while it was sad it
Hmm.
came to an end, that was a no-no that it should have never happened. Um,
Right.
but when I hear that Usher song, "We're not good, but we're still good," Shannon, I don't know if you heard that, but honey,
Hmm.
that's my
Yeah.
jam, girl.
Yeah. Is
I can't fool with a lot of this crazy music today, but some good R&B, honey, get me going.
Yeah.
Anyway, that song reminds me that just because it's over doesn't mean, we don't wish the other
That's
person
right.
well. But under those
Exactly.
circumstances, we shouldn't start relationships. I was too hung up on my ex. So that's a submission of
Mhm.
a heartwarming, a no-no. It was over, but it was still good. We're still
Mhm.
good. And just like you, Shannon, you and your
Yeah.
son's father, which is my now husband,
Mhm.
still good.
Mhm.
And that's how. So we want
Exactly.
some of those December no-nos, but that just wasn't the guy for you.
Yeah.
Thank God, girl, you
Right,
saved them for
right.
me. But I'm happy you didn't like him that much. But so those, so these next
No,
few months of
wait a minute,
submissions.
Sean, I don't wanna hurt his feelings or anything. It's not the
Mm-mm.
light thing, but you know both of us. You know us real well,
No, no,
and
no.
we're
It was just
both
a joke.
very quiet. I know,
And that's
but,
why, and that's
you can't
why
get
you
2
got,
quiet people
and
together.
exactly. But that's why it's still, it's still good. Look, so you're quiet, and
Exactly.
Will is like the louder one in your
Woo!
relationship.
Yes,
Jimmy's
Will, you
quiet.
you you hear him.
Yeah, and Jimmy quiet, but I be outside, honey. I'm loud. I'm loud enough for the whole family. So, again, opposites attract. It's coming up soon, so we'll get into
That's
that a little
right.
more.
That's
So,
right,
guys,
yeah.
these next few months of submissions should be interesting. So get them in starting today. And tell your friends to tell their friends to like and subscribe to
Mhm.
Wifey and Baby Mama. And send theirs in too. That's the only condition to getting in on these hot topics and your chance to win $100 every month. A click of a
Every
button.
month.
That's it. So let's do it, family. We love to hear from you. This is a two-way
Yes.
journey. We would love to know what's going on in your world as we share ours with you. And one more time, please don't forget to leave your initials, a first name, state, city, country, whatever works for you. We'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
All
Yep.
right, so it's into tonight's topic, Mama's boys. We're going to
Mm.
give you all the signs, wonders, and reasons to steer clear.
Mm.
We also want to let you know sometimes it's okay to stay if you meet or you do meet a mama's boy in the future because there's nothing wrong with the man loving his mama. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't want one that doesn't, right? Because if you
Exactly.
can't love who raised you, right, then I don't stand a chance.
Mhm.
But there's also a
Yeah.
line that has to be drawn, once a man takes on a committed partner or wife.
Right. Yeah. So, I've never really, at least not to my knowledge, ever dated a mama's boy. However, I did raise a boy, and we can touch on some of the things I did wrong, because I was a true helicopter mom. And when you are that type of mother, your son, especially being a single mother with a son, your son isn't as hard. I mean, we don't want them to be, of course, we want them sensitive, but we also want them able to fight for themselves. Now, my son
Right.
can physically fight. That's what he does.
Mhm.
But the mental fight, the being able to speak up for himself, those types of things, I squash that by being that helicopter mom, always jumping to his defense, always, oh, you're not messing with my baby, always doing all
Mhm.
of that craziness. So yeah, we'll touch on some points, and I know, Sean, you probably have some stories for us about mama's boys, and I can't wait to hear
Well,
them.
ladies, that's the thing. Before you create a serious bond with that man, especially like you said,
Mm.
Shannon, if children are involved, if you have a single mom, if you're
Mhm.
a single mom,
Mhm.
you need to know what you're working with. And we are here to give you the
Right.
real on that tonight. Now, my husband is definitely a mama's boy, and he's the baby of the family. So, child, listen, it's
Mm.
tight knit. But he definitely took his vows serious. Now, I know that's the part you were getting to, Shannon, because you're so connected with the
Uh-huh.
family, so you know how it goes, and you're
Yeah.
probably thinking like, "What y'all
Yep.
got? What y'all be having going on?" But thank God, he did take his vows
Mhm.
serious, like I said. And while he will
Mhm.
always respect his mom and family, he makes it real clear that I come first, and that's not disrespectful. It's what the
Yeah.
word says. So,
That's
ladies,
right.
don't get tonight's message twisted. It's okay for a man to love his mom. But that love should never undercut or override what goes on in your house.
Mhm. Yeah, and you hear
Um,
people say it all the time. A lot of guys, they don't get that point. They don't get that message. Their mother will always be first for them, no matter what. And I'm only
Absolutely.
speaking from,
Your point
friends
of
and
view. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, from what I've observed, it's like
Mhm.
can be hurtful. I've seen a lot of tears over the man choosing to put his mother above his wife.
Yeah.
Girlfriends, it's like, I don't know. I'm a little on the fence about the girlfriend, but definitely the wife.
Right.
That should never happen. Never happen.
And,
But if you're
and
seeing it while you're the girlfriend, that might
run,
be a sign of something.
run. And being the mother of sons, Shannon, you longer than me, by a few years.
Mhm.
But
Oh,
nonetheless,
okay.
we're both raising boys. And I can attest
Mhm.
firsthand that we are definitely those boys' first love. My son tells me daily,
Mhm.
"Mommy, you so
Mhm.
beautiful." He doesn't want to lay down for bed unless mama lays down. And
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
move I make, he is in close proximity. So I get it.
Right.
It's a special bond between moms and sons for sure.
Mhm.
I mean, I had
Oh
three
yeah.
daughters before I had him, whom I
Mhm.
absolutely adore. I adore my girls. But even they will say, we couldn't get away with half the stuff that boy does. It is true, partly because I'm too old and I don't have energy to catch him before he went roundhouse off the top stair, okay? But secondly, because it's like, that's my son, let him have it.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
but ladies,
Yeah.
like you just said, Shannon, when it's too much babying, we got to know
Mhm.
when it's too much, when it's too much as a
Right.
mom. And Shannon, you said that you definitely wish you would have did it a little differently. And guess what?
Oh yeah.
He's older now. He's in his 30s. You've done your job. If
Mhm.
you could do it
Right.
over again, then you would know. So that's what we're here for. We're trying to
Mhm.
avoid or curb some of that behavior before. Too late for you, Shannon, but you're correcting it as
Mhm.
it get older. But that's kind of hard. It's almost like what K. Michelle said, you can't raise a man. It's almost like
That's
once these
right.
grown men are set into those ways, it's so hard to
Yeah.
curb it, and you're fighting a losing
Yeah.
battle. It can be
Yeah.
done, but for the most part, it's just all bad. Now, of course, like I said, my son is young, but your son, my older, your son, our oldest
Mhm.
son, my
Mhm.
stepson, he's a full grown man. And I hear you say
Mhm.
often now, though, Shannon, how you hold him accountable when it comes to
Yep.
relationships. So
Yep.
even though you may have been a helicopter mom in the younger days, at least you've recognized now your need to change or what
Mhm.
you did
Yeah,
wrong
and
and
it's
your
hard,
need to back
right.
up. It's hard.
Exactly. Yeah, it's
But I
hard. You
also
hear me.
know, yeah, how you got his back as a mom when it comes to life.
Right.
And that's so
Yes.
important. You gotta keep those lines clear. My mom
Mhm.
had a different standard when it came to my brothers than she had for my sisters and I. It was like they could do no wrong. And like I said, I
Mm.
certainly understand that bond now having my own son, but I'm careful, even at my son's young age, to hold him accountable. And one thing I did love about my mom, like you said, despite her favoritism, was that she didn't mellow in their business too much in their love affairs. It was like, if you like it, I
Ah.
love it. That was her saying. Now
Mhm.
she would tell them if she saw a chick that seemed, like she was on the take or loose in her terms. At those times, she would
Mhm.
say something, along the lines of "Watch that one," and let that be that. But she didn't try and choose their mates, and I respected that.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Now she
love that.
often continued. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Sean.
No, but
I
remember
was
you
just gonna
said I
move
don't know
on
about.
to another point.
But
I'm
when you said about no, it's okay. When you said about girlfriends, right? Now,
Oh, yeah.
she often continued relationships with their ex because, my brothers are younger than I, so they wasn't no marriage going on back in those days. But my mom is like me though. We have a genuine love for people. So just because things
Mhm.
didn't work doesn't mean you have to like cut people off, right? And we've said that before,
Right.
but maintain a level of respect for that new person.
Mhm.
My mom was
That's right.
respectful to the point that if she had, if my brothers were in a serious relationship, then she wouldn't be inviting like the exes over to every little thing. Or if it was something big or a
Mhm.
monumental moment, a 50th birthday party for my stepfather, I remember, now this is a point when she wants everyone to be there. So she'll tell my brothers, like, hey, I'm going to invite such and such. Is that okay? If they were like, oh, no, mom, absolutely not, then that was the end of it.
Mhm.
Like she didn't do
Right.
anything disrespectful. And you can
Right.
start by, what you can do? You can start by making sure you raise them to be in a position to choose wisely and choose a proper mate.
Mhm.
So you don't have to
Mhm.
be that, you know, referee all the time between your sons and his woman because that's really not your place. Give them advice,
That's right.
but let them make their own choices. Don't feed them
Mhm.
and wait on them hand and foot, making them solely dependent on you to the point that they feel like a woman's supposed to cater to them at all times. That's an
Mhm.
injustice to them, and they will forever compare every woman to you, and they're going to be in for a rude awakening.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No one will be good enough. No one.
Mm-mm.
um, for them. And then another a flip I shouldn't say a flip side, but another take on this. I can relate this to, my husband and I. So when we first got together, we've been together 7 years, married for 5.
Hmm.
My son calls me every single day, except if unless we're not getting along, which
Okay.
that's happened. We've had 2 major fights in his adult life.
Hmm.
Um,
They go
but that's
silent
it.
on you, give you silent
Exactly.
treatment. Our
Yes.
oldest daughter does that. Yeah,
Yeah.
and she lives with
But
me,
we've
honey.
only
She
had
she ain't speaking.
oh, Lord.
She going right to her
Lord.
room. It's over.
So my son calls every single day. And when Will and I got together, that used to kind of bother him. He wouldn't say anything at first, but I'd notice a look. And then after a couple of, I don't know, months or maybe a year, he finally said something. He's like, he calls you every day. And I said, uh-huh. He
Right.
said, um, it's always been like this. I said, yeah. And because I'm waiting for what's the problem?
Right.
I'm anticipating some drama. And he says, I've just never seen that before. So I'm not sure how I feel about it. And I'm like, what do you mean? Immediately here comes Mama Bear
Here
about
comes the
to, throw
helicopter
some
mama.
blows. He said, no. He says, in where he grew up, when he sees mother and sons talking like this, this is South. He's seen some crazy stuff with mothers and sons. And I'm like,
Hmm.
oh yeah, ain't none of that going on over here. he just likes saying hi to his mom at least once a day. That's it, but we
Mhm.
rarely see him. He lives 15 minutes away. We see him maybe once a month, maybe every other month,
But he
so
calls.
he calls. And I just needed my husband to understand that's okay. That don't mean there's incestuous stuff or, whatever sickness might have entered
And
his
it's
brain.
exactly, but I think that's absolutely important. My husband's
Mhm.
older and his mom is older, and I think that's healthy. I encourage him. I'll ask him sometimes when he calls me because he works from sun up to sundown. And sometimes he'll
Mhm.
say, "Hey, have you talked to your mom today?" He's like, "No, I haven't." I'm like, "Well, give her a call." Or, he works close to her house. I'm
Yeah.
like, "Well, make sure you stop by on your way home. Have you seen your mom this week?" Well, I've been running. I'm like, "Well, make sure you stop by." He goes by without fail every Tuesday to put her garbage out. Like it's a ritual.
Oh,
So I'm like, "Did you at
yeah.
least go in and say hi?" He's like, "I was tired." I'm like, "Well, make sure before the week's out to go see your mom." And I'm going to tell you, his mom and I did not have the best relationship. We're still not buddy buddy, but that's his mother. She's my mother-in-law,
Mhm.
and it's my
Right.
duty to make sure he keeps a good relationship and keep things calm. And I don't ever want the reason I do that. I don't want to ever make his mother feel like his wife is the reason he's not coming to see me. I haven't heard
Yeah.
from him all
Yep.
week. I just try to
Yep.
make sure to keep a clear line with that because, like I said, there's nothing wrong
Mhm.
with loving your mother. It's not that he doesn't. He just works like a Hebrew. So, I get it. But I think that's important. I think that's beautiful that your son does that without someone having to prompt him. So, I mean,
Right.
and he does, but I mean, I'm just saying, I make sure. And on the other hand,
Mhm.
I don't think moms should intentionally make them feel like they have to. Like
True.
they don't want to find a, make them so
Mhm.
dependent that they don't want to find a good wife, because they know
Yeah.
no one is going to bow down to wait on them, And we have those mom who also groom their sons to be
Mhm.
codependent. So they can
Oh,
almost dictate
yeah.
to the son what kind of
Mhm.
woman he should have. And it will
Mhm.
usually be one she picks because the woman will be weak and bow to both of them, like I said, son and the
Mhm.
mother. People, this is all
Right.
bad. And I have
Yeah.
never seen a situation like that worked out well. So I don't
Me
see anything
either.
wrong with your son keeping a good connection with you. Like you said, you don't see him often, which means he has his own life. But in
Right.
those situations, either the son, when the mother dictates so much that she's picked a mate, either the son will end up with a woman who
Mhm.
he's not satisfied with, which
Mhm.
eventually leads to infidelity, in the marriage.
Right.
But the mother and
Yep.
family are happy, or the wife will finally say to hell with all y'all, and she's had enough and
Mhm.
she's gone. Either way, it won't
Mhm.
end well if you don't keep a perfect balance. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right. And I want mothers to know too, mothers of sons, your son doesn't owe you anything once he's an adult. Everyone wants
Right.
to think, oh, I raised you, I clothed you, I fed you. That's the law, people. That's the law. That's what you're supposed to do when you have a child. Now, when
It's
he
a law and
becomes a
it's the
man
word.
and it's the word, yeah. And when he becomes a man and he decides to either, you know, be stuck up under you or whatever, or move off to Timbuktu, you gotta let them do what they do at 18. I didn't do that. So here's a perfect, um, you know, chance for me to help somebody else. When my son wanted to go to college, I begged and pleaded. Luckily, he didn't listen to me because I wanted him to stay in North Carolina.
Mhm.
He went all the way to Maine. He was like, oh, Lord, I'm going to Maine. And then from Maine, he transferred to school in Boston. And then when he came home from Boston, came back to the South permanently, I was in a three-story townhouse. This was before
Mhm.
my husband. Whole top floor. I never went up there. So
Mhm.
I'm like, "Hey, son, you can just chill up there, be fine." And I'm thinking, "Oh, cool. We got this cool roommate situation going on. He can help pay some bills."
Right.
But no, he was there probably, I don't know, a month, and he said, "Ma, I got my own apartment." I'm like, "What? You
He was
you got it
like
good here.
he was
You
like,
got it
"No."
good." He's like, "No." And so I was in my feelings and hurt, like, "Oh, you don't want to do this for me. I've been alone all this time. I just need you to stay here for a minute." And he went on about his business, which he should have. And I shouldn't have been trying to convince him to stay there with me or help pay something over here. No. He doesn't owe me that. So I need mothers, if you've done your job and they're 18 and they're wanting to strike it out into the world, let them do that. Don't hold them back or put guilt trips on them saying, you see me over here, you
Lonely
know,
by myself.
lonely.
Keep
Exactly.
me
I remember,
company. Help me out.
y-
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Even though Jay went to Maine, he was so nervous and upset about going. And I said, "Why are you so worked up?" He said, "I just wish you had somebody." And I
Oh.
said, "Jay, I'm good. Believe me, I'm fine." So, you know, I know he felt that because I put that on him. He should have never felt that. He should have never been allowed to see that. He should have went off to college like, whew, life is great, not worried about his mother sitting alone in front of the TV eating ice cream.
Well,
So,
Shannon, at least though, I'm gonna tell you how brave you are for recognizing that. You know how
mhm.
many mothers never and again, your son is in his 30s. You know how many moms have 50 and 60-year-old sons that just stay here with me. You don't need that woman. You know how
Yeah.
many people that do that? So I'm so happy that you
Mhm.
had the courage to recognize that and admit I was wrong. I shouldn't have did it that way.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
so happy that you're here to tell that story because mine is 5. I don't have any stories yet, y'all. I'm sorry. Besides the fact that Frank hangs on to my ankles, when his daddy not around. Then when daddy around though, I'm non-existent. But anyways, the whole point is you were able to do that as a single mom. That was your first child. That's
Mhm.
your only child. You did the best you could.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I'm so thankful that you are here. We are here to do this to stop other moms before they even have sons or if they're having sons to
Right.
correct that behavior. That's what it's all about.
Mhm.
We're not here trying to tell anybody how to live their lives. We're not here saying we know it all. But
Mhm.
I said it before. If you ain't been through nothing, you ain't been through something, you can't tell me nothing. So what better
That's
than a person
right.
that, look, I did that. It's wrong. Don't do it. And look how it turned out. But thank God he was also man enough to recognize I ain't doing this with my mama. I'm going to be my own man. So it can happen. So that's what
Mhm.
I'm saying, ladies. If you do meet a
Mhm.
mama's boy, it's not like a dead situation. Oh, it can't be corrected. But it definitely shouldn't be continued and you shouldn't just allow it to go on because I'm telling you, it's going to end bad. Either you're going to be miserable
Mhm.
or you're going to be gone. So if you
Right.
work on it a few months, a year, and you see it's not letting up, you have that serious conversation and say, hey, well, look, you have your mother because no one is obligated to that. And Shannon, if you're done speaking to that point, I want to talk about one more
Mhm.
point
I
when it
am.
comes to those
Yeah,
mama
go
boys.
ahead.
I want to talk
Mhm.
about the worst of the mama boys, in my opinion.
Ooh.
And that's the ones who are taught by their mom from the day they can speak that the dad or any man for that matter is no good and how she suffered because of it.
Oh,
She
right,
poisoned the
right.
son's mind to the point that he hates or
Mhm.
despises the female species altogether
Mhm.
because mama is right,
Mhm.
because mama has taught him that what she said is the Bible. And if you don't
Mhm.
agree or think like mama, then that man is not going to be good to anybody. These kind of men will set out to make every female feel what his mama had to feel, or at least what she told him she felt because of his father. This two people is toxic and very unhealthy. Don't do that,
Mhm.
women. Don't do that to your sons. Whatever relationship you have with men, you take that to Jesus. You raise those
Yep.
boys to be good men and let them make their own choices. Like Shannon said, when they're ready to venture out, let them go. I know it's hard. I can imagine Frank
Mhm.
only 5, him saying he going away to Maine. Girl, I'll probably be somewhere under the couch outside in the driveway. Just take me out now. But we have
Right,
to,
right.
we have to do it. And I have no doubt that I'm going to be a woman to do it. Well, my husband's going to make me do it because he ain't raising no mama's boy.
Mhm.
So he teaches him. He got him out there washing cars, honey. At 5, he be out there buffing the cars and the motorcycle. So, but
Oh,
again,
Lord.
if it ever comes to that point, we've had this conversation, Shannon, and we know
Mhm.
what not to do.
Mhm.
You got anything
Right.
else for the peeps tonight on the Mama's Boys?
That's it. I mean, I could keep going, but we'll be out of time. So,
We'll be out of time. Okay. Well, let's leave them with this tonight. When it comes to Mama's Boys, mothers, it's imperative to just love and raise your sons to be men. Teach them how to lead, teach them survival skills, teach them to cook, keep a clean house, do laundry, grocery shop, but most of all, teach them how to love properly and then let them go when it's time. The most important thing to remember is once you see them becoming a man, as Shannon said, just guide them in the proper direction, but don't dictate them. And men, if you see or have a mother who's already controlling or becoming that way, stop it before it's too late. And we'll wrap that title up and head to the red
okay.
line.
Perfect.
All right, tonight's red line tip is don't let your mama cost you a mate. Fellas,
Mm.
it's important to remember that your mom is just that. That's the role God put her on this earth to play. Don't allow her to become between you and the mate God also placed on this earth for you. We all have our roles to play in this thing called life. And if we would just accept that and stay in those boundaries, we can look forward to some healthy, happy, blended lives, right? But if you don't,
Mhm.
be prepared for years of drama, turmoil, confusion, and who really has time for that in the end? Everything comes down to choices. Be sure to make the right one when it comes to that. Mama can do a lot for you. Mama brought you into this world, but mama can't do what a good wife can when those lights go out. Think about it.
Mhm.
The next time mama oversteps, think about that. Mama will be in her bed sleeping good while you in the next room or at home restless because you let your good thing get away. It's okay to be a mama's boy, but be sure that's not stopping you from being your woman's man. And that's my
Mhm.
red line topic for tonight.
Love that red line. And part of that, as Sean, you've said too, it's keeping the peace in your home, remembering that
Absolutely.
this is your home, man, and you're
That's
here
right.
to lead us. So lead us in peace.
Lead us in peace. And love mama. Connect with mama. Keep a tight bond with mama.
Mm-hmm.
But mama don't
Mm-hmm.
come before that bond with your wife.
That's right. All
All
right.
right,
Excellent
girlfriend, you
red
got it from
line.
here.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
So if you would like your $100 gift card along with your books in October, November, and December, please submit your red lines to wifeyandbabymama@gmail.com. As Sean said when we opened the show, scary for October, thankful for November, and heartfelt is December,
Heartfelt,
right?
heartwarming for
All
December.
right.
Yes, ma'am.
That's right. So, yes, submit your red lines. And the winner, the third Thursday of the month, will get their $100 gift card when we read their red line submission on the air and their book, A Love the World Should Know. We thank you for your submissions and we look forward to reading them every week. All right, to our final segment of the night, the fictional family I'm feeling. And this week's family comes from the movie Jumping the Broom. And for all of you that've seen it, based on tonight's topic, I'm sure you know which scene I'm headed to. Um, so, the setup, so there's a wedding, or they're planning a wedding. The family is planning a wedding, and the son is engaged to a woman named Sabrina that his mother doesn't really like. Well, she never liked anyone for that matter. But
Right.
the bride did not want to jump the broom. She did not want to do that tradition. And that sent his mother and family, off the deep end. Like, how dare she not want to jump the broom? And the mother went off on the soon to be bride, and it caused a fight between mother and son. So the son says to his mother, what are you doing? This is her wedding. If she don't want to jump the broom, she don't have to jump the broom. He says, "What do you want from me? Do you want love? I give you love. You want respect? I give you respect." And the mother was like, "Oh, you ain't giving me no respect because this woman thinks she too good to come across the bridge, to go see them." And across the bridge, of course, we know is a metaphor for the other side of the tracks, even though they do live across the bridge, literally. Um, but he says, "You see why I didn't want her to come? See what happened? This is what you do." He said, "Every woman I've ever loved, you sabotaged it. You've got in the way." He says, "You have to change. I am not a little boy and I'm not your husband. I'm a
Mm,
man and I am
absolutely.
your son." And he says, "But you have to change. You have to change." And it took him all these years. Here we are looking at a 30-some-year-old man confronting his mother. Not very many men can do that.
That's right.
But happy to say he put his foot down, and of course, things changed. Not only was his wedding beautiful, I'm sure, and then the life after it peaceful, all because he took that one little step. Yeah, I'm sure his mother feelings were hurt for a minute, but she got over it. So, men, women, you guys out there, let's watch our mama's boys and try not to raise them first of all. And then if you do encounter them, as Sean said, you have a decision to make, what you want to do about it. So that is the fictional family I am feeling this evening.
Shannon, that was great. And let me tell you another point. He said, "How many relationships have you ruined for me?" How
Oh,
many That's why I
yeah.
didn't bring her to see you. You know what else that
Mm,
signifies? That he found the one. So you run all them other little
yeah.
chicks off, but I found, and God has spoken to my spirit that this is my wife. Now I gotta let you know.
Mhm.
And so it
Right.
was okay for you to run all those girlfriends and one night stands and jump offs, but this is going to be my wife. So that was the time.
Mm,
So women, I'm telling you, even if it's a mama's boy, when you're the right one, he'll do what he needs to do.
you got
So
that right.
he even let her through the reception, like I mean, through the dinner. Remember the rehearsal dinner? He allowed
Oh,
his mom to
yeah.
do a few things that were we look at as women as disrespectful. Remember, he kicked her under the table like,
Yeah.
"Chill, just let her. That's my mom." But when she
Mhm.
hurt that girl's feelings and she told him she wouldn't
Mm.
marry him anymore, he's like, "Oh, something, something got to give."
Yep.
And
Yep.
because the wife, the fiance said, I ain't doing this with you. If this how you gonna let your mother behave, you
Mm.
go ahead and have your mama. And that
That's
was the
right.
turning point for them. So great fictional family girl. That was great.
Mm. All right. So that is it for the night. We thank you all for joining us around the globe. We look forward to any new subscribers. We welcome you all. We're so grateful and thankful that you're taking the time to listen to us at all. So much love.
Much love. Until next week.
I'm ready.